You are listening to the Fuerte Network.
Hey, bitches!
Hey, you stupid bitches.
Don't talk to my people like
Sorry. You
fucking cunt.
wonderful people.
Don't be
listening
fake.
to the
You
show.
fake ass bitch.
Well, then don't tell me not to be.
Welcome back to another shit show.
Another edition.
Another edition of the shit of the Hot Mess Express.
Hot Mess Express. The most organized hot mess.
We try. We don't. We try not to try.
Yeah.
But you know, we have a really good show for you today. We've got a special guest who
Very special guest.
very special guest.
Legend.
Legendary. And in Daddy's case, legendary.
Legendary. Oh, season 1.
Was this? No, it was
Season 2.
Season 2. Legs and dairy. It was Jujubee.
Jujubee. Jesus Christ. She's won every reading challenge that she's ever been on.
Because she's fucking
'Cause she's
amazing.
fucking- she knows how to read.
She can sing,
fried
honey.
chicken. Walks on the beach. Big dicks.
Big dicks. Who was she the one that said "and trouble"? No, that was somebody else. But anyways, yes.
Yes.
Fuck, where was I going? No, anyways, but this is an Arizona legend.
Arizona legend.
Arizona icon that will be joining us today. And
Literally doing it for decades.
For decades. Since drag was invented.
And she's been in the news lately.
She has
She has been. And we'll talk about that
But
during that segment.
let's not give it all away. Let's save
But
a
our
little bit
special guest
for the
is-
two guests that will still be watching when we get to that point.
Including the guests.
including the guests. As she looks at herself on the fucking screen. But no, today is gonna be good. But we have some hot topics.
We have some
to
hot
get to.
topics, bitch, that we need to get to.
One of them is like, I'm
Mhm.
just in shock about.
What is that?
Huh?
What is that?
Ricky Martin.
Ricky.
That's my boo. Like,
Yeah, I mean, we were shocked last show. And we were like debating on if we believe this or not. Just because there wasn't a lot of details.
Not only-
There was no details about it.
it was that, but it was also like you know, like I hate to say this, but there's some artists who like you believe it from.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck, well, you know, you don't think twice, right? But Ricky, like, he's just like if you follow Ricky on socials, like he's just so zen, so I don't know, like he's like otherworldly. Like, and I mean, what I mean by that is just very like I don't know, like
He looks like a kind soul. Like he would never harm another person.
There you go. And I mean, the guy fights for human trafficking. Like, you know what I mean? That
It just didn't make sense. None of it made sense.
didn't. He's got a gorgeous husband. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
like he's a millionaire. He has a gorgeous family, husband,
kids,
perfect life.
You know what I'm saying?
Why would he throw it away to
He's-
be incestuous with his
His
nephew? Like,
career is doing amazing
Yeah.
right now. His music is the new song, Sabor
I haven't heard
Ácido.
it.
Oh my God, so good, so good. Ricky, I love you, boo.
So
But-
what initially happened was
Yeah.
that they had this nephew claims that they had a relationship for like 8 months or 9 months or something like that.
Yeah,
And but this is an adult. It's not a child.
21-year-old.
He's a 21-year-old, right?
Yeah.
And not a lot. And then he was saying that he was being stalked by him. That
right. So
he was
got a
coming around the
restraining order
house
first.
and then he got a restraining order.
Yep.
And then the part that was like confusing is because Ricky wasn't saying anything, and that was on purpose from the lawyer saying don't say nothing.
It'll show. It'll all appear in
Yeah.
court, which is the way it should be handled, right?
Yes. But it's for fans. They want to know now. Like they want you to say right now that that's not true. But ultimately, what happened is he dropped the
Drop the request.
The request, and his uncle Renee is calling.
Tell that bitch to go.
His uncle, his own uncle, Ricky Martin's brother, was talking to news outlets saying
that
the nephew has mental
issues, mentally unstable. I just like to me like I feel bad for the kid for the mental issues that he may have, right? And I say kid because you know it is what it is.
He's a kid. He's 21 years
He's
old.
a kid. He's 21. I think it's sad that he went this route, and I want like what led him to go this route? Like what led him to think that he can do this and get away with it? Like that's one of the things is like
because the damage is done.
Even
though if he is exonerated, but the message is still out there, and people will remember this moment.
It's and what gets me the most is the fact that even though he, like you said, even though he was exonerated, people who are against the gay community are going to use this. See, they're all pedophiles, they're all incestuous, they're all this, that, and the third. And
Stop rubbing your ashy hands on the table, please. Thank you. We can hear everything.
You're a fucking bitch, dude.
Tell me you didn't hear that. You almost busted his eardrum.
Can you hear that on the recording?
Yes.
Fuck you both. I'm sorry if I actually have a job that I have to
Put
work
some
hard
lotion
at.
on, honey.
I do, bitch.
Well, you need to deep-moisturize, peel, something.
Light the table on fire.
Acid? I don't know.
Váyanse los dos a la verga. Coman caca los dos.
Hold your hands.
Fuck off, Daniel.
Okay, serious moment.
Yeah, I'm done with you. I'm done.
The last show.
The last show, I'm
Infamous
done.
last show.
The infamous last.
We just pushed this bitch too much.
with over ashiness. Fuck you and fuck you.
At least your legs are not ashy. That's good.
Nothing's ashy.
It just sounds rough, honey.
I'm sorry. I use my hands at work.
Okay.
You stupid.
I feel sorry for your dick.
Why are you thinking about my penis?
No one's thinking about it. I'm just saying, it's ouch.
No, I don't have issues there.
Okay, good. Thank God. Okay, let's move.
And no one's gonna fuck you. Anyways, where were we?
We were talking about
I'm afraid
Ricky.
of and then what I meant by that
The
is
conservatives using this,
especially
to
the
say,
conservatives, they're going
they're
to.
incestuous, they're
going to.
pedophiles, they're perverts.
And you know what sucks is that it's gonna hit us twice. It's gonna hit us as the gay community, and it's gonna hit us as the Latino community.
Why do you think Latino?
Because when you look at the rhetoric that Trump spread, and you look at a lot of the people that are running right now who are going off of this Trumpist style campaign, right? They're gonna when Trump said that all Mexico sent is their rapists, they're murderers. Now he's gonna say they're incestuous. That it's just gonna add to that. And obviously, unfortunately,
Ricky's not Mexican,
Ricky,
but he's part of the community.
but they meant like the Latino community.
Yeah, when a person like that looks at a person like Ricky, they're not going to be like, oh no, he's Puerto Rican. They're just going to be like, that's a Mexican.
And Puerto Rican's U.S. citizen.
It's the same culture to them.
But unfortunately, because Mexico is the largest Latin American country aside from the U.S., people tend to bottleneck everyone bottle everybody into the same can,
box,
right, or the same box. And so, unfortunately, like when it's going to be generalized. I know it's going to be generalized. I can't fucking stand you guys. They're gonna generalize, and they're gonna just use this as another talking point against the Latino community. And so I don't know. For me, my heart breaks for Ricky because I support the man. Like,
you see the video afterwards?
No, what video?
Well, you spoke about it.
Yeah. I saw that one.
He's like, he didn't like the thing I loved about that is that he didn't shit talk him. He didn't say,
no,
he's a liar. He's this and that. He's like, I hope he gets the help he needs. Like,
that man is all class. He's been classy since I can remember. He's such a stand-up person.
Even when he came out and like he did it very dignified. He did on his terms.
On
like,
his
he
terms.
waited.
And think about it, aside from Ricky Martin has never really been part of, aside from this, has never had any scandals.
Yeah. I can't think of one scandal.
You know what I'm saying? This man is somebody who literally took the control of his career and maintained it. Like this is going to be my career. It's going to be this way, and I'm going to conduct myself in this manner. And I don't know. I respect that.
And he holds a really good example for our community. Like,
absolutely,
he has a marriage. He's married. He has children. He has a family.
3 or 4?
I think he has twins, and he
has a little girl.
Yeah,
I think he had another little boy after that.
You think? I think he has 2 girls.
Is it 2 girls?
I think he has.
I think it's 4 total though. Anyways,
but this is our community. Like, this is part of our community. We
absolutely.
I don't want to say normal, but we're just a standard. We have standard families. We're just like everybody else. We're not we're not the others. We're not different. We're just
agreed.
We're just diverse.
Agreed. And all the hypocrites are gonna take a jump on this.
Oh, they already have, bitch.
Girl.
Speaking of jumping on the bandwagon of hatred, monkeypox, girl. Did you get your monkeypox vaccine?
Not yet.
You should.
Have you gotten yours?
No, I'm not sexually active.
Doesn't matter.
It does matter.
What if Jovan is?
I mean, that's true. It's not an STI. You're right. You're absolutely right. It's contact. It's like a chicken pox. And that's what's happening right now is the conservatives, especially MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene, fuckface, bitch, twat, is going out there, and she has a podcast where she just fucking talks crazy shit, saying that this only affects gay men. It's only transmitted by gay men. It's a STI, which is absolutely wrong. So much so that the director of WHO or CDC had to go on and tweet about the misinformation that this person's doing.
But do you think that's going to stop her?
Of course not. She's emboldened. She's been talking about white national, no, not white. That's what it is, but Christian nationalism, and that's not a bad word, and that's what they are, and that basically America should be ruled by Christian morals and teachings.
I not to break away from that bitch, but Hobart, whatever her name.
Bobart, yeah.
She was saying that the church should lead the government because that's the way God wants it, not the other way around. I'm like, bitch, do you not read your Constitution?
She is an elected official, honey, and doesn't know the Constitution. Anybody can run. Anybody can run. Anybody can run and win. And we have some morons, idiots, representing people in this country.
I fucking can't, dude. Like I think like, you know, like to serve in the military, you have to pass the ASVAB, right? Or you have to take a ASVAB test. A lot of times to have certain jobs, you have to pass a certain basic skills or basic knowledge test, right? I think to be a representative of
an elected official
of the people, an elected official, you should have some sort of degree,
some sort of test,
some sort of degree,
psychological test.
It's like 1, 2, but that should be a course of study, like political science. Imagine that. You have to have a degree in fucking political science to be a fucking politician.
Laura Boebert is a restaurant owner, and I don't even think she has a high school degree, maybe a GED. Something.
And her husband's the one that exposed
himself to underage girls. And the funny part is that she went on like podcasts and shit, and she's like, the girls were flirting with him. So basically,
victim blaming.
Yep.
Typical of people like that, right?
And she's a woman. That's what gets me. These women that are Christian, supposedly Christian. Man. And I just think like, if Jesus was on this planet right now, he would not be a Republican. He would hate Republicans. He would preach against it.
Because you got to look at it when like look at the times of like Pontius Pilate, of Jesus, right? Mm-hmm. The conservatives are Rome.
Yeah.
And he's, that's what it is.
Republicans do everything in their power to cut social programs like helping the poor, which is what Jesus preached about all the time.
Like when you look at it, Jesus, sorry, I had to check the mic, but Jesus hung out with the thieves, the prostitutes. Mm-hmm. Mary Magdalene was a prostitute.
The diseased, all that.
You know what I mean? Like that's who he hung out with, not with people who are self-righteous and self-entitled. Uh-huh. Like, girl.
And it's just like if Jesus was here, he would not be supporting you. And they feel that Jesus would completely support what they're doing. Absolutely support what they're doing.
I don't
get it.
Jesus
wouldn't be led into the country.
Huh?
Jesus would not be led into
the country.
Jesus
would not be led into the country. And they wouldn't even support Jesus if they really got a good look at him because Jesus was not white.
Yeah.
Jesus did not have blue eyes.
Did you see the composition of like what he would look like?
Yeah.
Back then he was brown skin, big brown eyes, big black hair.
Heavy features, big features.
It's not that picture we see on your grandparents' wall.
I'm sorry, white people, but Jesus was closer to black than he is to white. Mm-hmm. Like,
newsflash. So MTG spreading that news. Again, monkeypox is not an STI. I'm assuming it's someone in our community got it, and that's how they spread. But it's not an STI. A big percentage is from New York, so it's like it's not just a gay thing. Anybody can get monkeypox. It's like chickenpox.
But it's like like in the whole HIV, when AIDS started, right? Mm-hmm. How they called it the gay cancer. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because I was reading that right now, the highest infection rate is not in gay men.
Oh, really?
It's in heterosexual men and women.
Oh, shit.
So that's like, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, and yet they still, like, just to come, I mean.
I think it just started because the CDC or the WHO, like, presented numbers.
Yeah.
And in that moment from April to May or something like that, it was gay men. and it's an outbreak in the community. That's how things happen.
Yeah.
Conservatives, I mean, that's what I mean they took that information and said, oh, look, it's the gays. The gays are spreading. No, they release information because they want that community to be targeted so they can get the help they need, so they can get the protection they need.
Right. And it's been nothing but misinformation since day one.
Yeah.
Since day fucking one. And even though the CDC may have come out to correct them, they're still going to run with it.
Of course. Because
that's their platform.
MTG is so against LGBT people, calling us pedophiles and all that shit, that she tweeted, if basically questioning why, if monkeypox is not an STI, why are kids getting it? Basically inferring that gay men are touching children.
Touch a children.
Exactly.
Touch a child. See, that's that shit that gets me too. Like, I wish people were held accountable.
Yeah.
I wish literally people were held accountable because, like, you're spreading misinformation. Like, you should be held accountable by a court of law for that shit. Because,
because you're hurting people.
Absolutely.
This is literally hurting people.
Like, I'm all for for freedom of speech, obviously, but you are literally spreading lies about people's health and the well-being of our community. Fuck you.
I feel like freedom of speech has it should have guidelines. Like, freedom of speech is like your opinion, but facts are not up for opinion.
Facts are facts. There's no such thing as alternative facts, people. Trump was full of shit. Is, and always will be full of shit. Like, it's not a fucking thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks to Skeletora. What's her name? Alternative facts lady?
Conway?
Kellyanne Conway. She's conning her way, bitch.
She's...
I'm so glad I don't have to see her on my screen anymore.
She might be back next...
No.
She's running again. Well, he's running again.
Well, he hasn't announced, but he's...
Do you think he'll get... Well, no, he's been saying it. He hasn't announced it officially.
He hasn't announced, but he's doing it because he's such a fucking narcissist, megalomaniac.
But right now, you're going to have the whole Trump versus DeSantis.
Did you hear he got mad at Fox News because they were basically saying that in some other studies, DeSantis is like close to him, like 50-50. And then because they presented that information saying, here in this turning point, whatever, they said 80% would vote for Trump, the rest other candidates. And then they clarified that this is for that convention. There are other polls that say that DeSantis is up. And he was mad at them. He called them out on some show because he calls into fucking Fox and Friends all the time.
Yeah.
It was Fox and Friends. And he was like basically saying, Ryan, what the fuck is his name? Paul Ryan is probably running this shit because he's on the board of Fox. Basically saying, you're not on my side. You're presenting this false fake news when they were just clarifying that there's other polls where he's not
There's
ahead.
all kinds of fucking polls.
And he's such a narcissist that he gets mad at Fox for not Heil Trump all the time.
I mean, look, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I support my president as much as I possibly can. I feel Biden's a little unfit to continue, much less run again.
Yeah.
Forgive me.
They're just old.
Our presidents are out of fucking touch with the country.
They're out of touch. They're fucking old as fuck. And there's so many younger politicians that would be great. And we just, the older the better for some reason, because I don't get it.
Because it speaks on their experience. Like, I'll be the first one to admit, Biden was not my first pick.
Mine either.
At all. I mean, but it is what it is.
But we felt like we had to choose the lesser evil.
Exactly. And I feel like our elections have literally become a shit show.
Like, we can't get it together as a party.
It's a joke.
They can't get it together. Well, Republicans are more together because they just fall in line. They have no morals in the sense of like, I don't think he's right, so I won't support him. They'll be like, I don't agree with him, but I'll still support him. That kind of thing.
Yeah. Very that.
So that's going on. The next topic I want to talk about is there is a Republican representative from Pennsylvania, Glenn Thompson, who last week voted against like the federal protections for LGBTQ marriage. And this asshole, I don't know the next day, but that weekend he went to his son's same-sex marriage.
How do you do that?
Wedding, yeah.
How do you do that?
I don't know. Like, if that was your father, would
if
you
that
have
was my
invited
father,
him?
I'd be telling, fuck you,
Fuck
you're
you.
not invited to my wedding.
Yeah.
I don't want anything to do with you. Like,
Which is just like the hypocrisy of the party. Like, you would vote against your son's better interest, and then you go to a wedding that might be repealed if Republicans get their way.
no, didn't fucking Cheney do the same thing? Was unsupportive of marriage equality? Isn't one of his daughters also a lesbian?
Yeah, Liz.
There you go.
Liz Cheney's lesbian.
Oh, no shit. So,
But
but
you
it's
hate lesbians that you don't know their history.
shut the fuck up, bitch. I know my sister's one, a big one, sir.
That gentleman.
Sir. No,
So-
but like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's yeah, I don't know why I hadn't
Made the connection.
made the connection, girl. You know where my head's at.
I just don't get it. I don't understand. How can they do that and just vote against their better interest?
Because like we've been seeing for years, we're seeing right now, and we're always going to see, it's the hypocrisy of the Republican Party.
Yeah.
And basically taking any bit of news that they possibly can and
Warping
bending
it.
and warping it
Mhm.
and using it and twisting it so fucking much that it almost breaks off,
Yeah.
so that they can use it to their convenience.
But the sad thing is, like, the base believes it. Like, they completely believe it, and that's why Trump loves the uneducated.
And they believe it because they feel vilified. Like they feel like and I say for most Republicans, right? They feel like now they're finally able to be bigots and racists and
openly,
and it's okay
Yeah.
because now according to them, it's like I'm free. I'm out of the
They feel like the minority here. So.
I'm out of the closet
I'm
now.
out of the racist
But there's
closet.
no. But there's no.
I'm out of the racist closet.
But there's
Yeah, I'm
no.
out of the racist
there's no
closet.
actual consequences really for them being white. Like, it's not a thing. And I think recently I read where Babbitt, the girl who died in the insurrection.
Yeah.
So her mom was in an interview or something, and she said that her daughter, a black woman, would be treated better than her daughter. Like,
How
she
you
tried
figure?
to make it that white people are being persecuted now.
Girl.
That's where she's at.
I'm gonna go back to this one word I always use. I've learned to use since I said it the first time. The caucasity of it all. Forgive me.
That's where we're at.
Where do people get off? Like I don't
know.
I'm just like some of the
being
outlandish
a minority
shit.
and being suppressed and being discriminated against is not a trend. It's not something that you hop on and be like, oh, I'm going to be discriminated against now. I'm the minority. Like, this country was built for you.
Forgive me. You will never fucking know what it's like to be discriminated
Because of
against
your race.
because of your race.
Yeah.
You will never fucking know.
Yeah.
Well,
You know?
the thing is, to go back a little bit to what you were talking about with the wedding, is that is exactly the reason why this keeps happening, is that they keep getting invited, they keep getting in. And like, if it could be on a big scale like this, like a full-on lawmaker voting to take this action, or it could be as small as, like, you hang out with your friends and there's always that one that likes to make the gay jokes, the race jokes, the everything, and like, oh, that's just how he is, he doesn't mean anything by it. We make excuses for them, and so it normalizes then around. So that's why it just keeps
I think it's
happening.
similar to like the bro culture of like other men not calling out other guys for like misogyny
Yeah.
and that bullshit. It's the same thing with this. Like,
Because I think we've been so used to keeping the peace and within the family unit, you know what I mean, or like being that oh, you know, it's to not stir the pot with the family because you're already
Or
looked
friend
at as a
group,
sheep
yeah.
or the friend group. I'm at a point in my life where it's
Fuck
like,
it.
fuck you, dude. Like, if we don't shit, like I know that I have family who is Republican. I have friends who are Republican, and I mean, for the most part, I can have decent conversations with these people. But unfortunately, there's some people in my family who are Republican who I just can't, like, I will never see eye to eye with because they're so far extreme. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, dude, you know what? And they did us a favor. Like, when my sister got married to her wife, they didn't even show up. So, like, with it or not, at least, you know, you kept yourself away, bitch, because I don't want to hear about it later. Sorry.
well, that's the hot topics, and we'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
with our
very special guest.
the legendary,
The iconic.
the iconic Arizona drag queen.
We'll leave it there.
We'll leave it there.
We'll be right back. We'll be right back. Hey, bitches.
Hey, bitches,
Welcome back.
Hey, Betch.
Yes. We are here with
We're there now.
We are there. We're family now.
Yes.
We're family. We are here with the iconic, the legendary.
Arizona drag royalty, honey.
Yes, honey.
That's what they say.
That's what you
That's
say.
what you say.
I only started saying it after it was in print. Like,
That's what they say. Is like you don't say shit until it's in print.
Bingo.
Once it's in print, bitch,
It's
you run
yours.
with it. You run with it.
You can't call yourself
Yeah,
that.
that's true.
And then the same thing, like when I pick my drag name for when I do drag, they told me the same thing.
So dumb.
Like the moment that shit goes into print, you're done. Like that's your name
That's
forever.
your name forever.
You can't change name after that, and it's in print.
Well, anyways, this legendary icon's name is Richard Stevens,
Yes, Miss-
aka
Miss
Barbra Seville.
Barbra Seville.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
We're so happy to have you here and to kind of chop it up and get some tea with you. Right?
There's lots to talk
There's
about.
lots to
There's
talk
definitely
about.
lots to talk about.
Absolutely.
There's plenty to talk about. We're not going to run out of that.
Oh no.
But to kind of, for those people who don't know you, because, you know, we have viewers and listeners all over the globe. We'd like to say that. But
You have a listener in Globe.
Maybe.
You can use
why is
that.
she reading that?
You can use that. I'm giving that to
Oh,
you.
thank
Thank you. You're the gift that keeps on giving. I love it. Huh.
That could honestly be a good thing. Like listeners all over the globe with an asterisk and then in small print, one listener in Globe.
I think we do. I think we fucking do.
That's yours. That's what I mean.
Thank
It's
you.
for you.
Thank you.
You're the
You're a
best.
genius.
I marketing genius there. I mean, so
Well, first let's start off by when did you start dragging? Where are you from?
I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, but we moved to Arizona on my 13th birthday.
okay.
So I've been here most of my adult life. I grew up in Tempe, went to Tempe High.
Sorry.
Oh, I love Tempe. I miss
what?
what. Did you really?
Yeah,
You're a
we're
Charger.
enemies.
Yeah, I don't think we are anymore, are we? I thought they
Yes.
healed it.
It's,
Oh.
No, it's stronger now.
Oh, gotcha. But I was a Buffalo, and our school won state championship when I was a senior. I was a cheerleader, obviously.
Was the buffalo in the gymnasium at that point? Like
What do you
the
mean?
actual the taxidermy buffalo?
Oh yeah, there's always been a Buffalo head in
Really?
there. Yeah.
It has a big old butthole. That's the thing that
The shit you pay attention to.
What?
You totally fucking would. You're in the bestiality
No,
of it?
no, that's what they took me to Tempe High for like a game. They're like, look at the butthole. I'm like, oh, that's when I was gay.
We're a minute and 30 in, and we're on buttholes.
I mean,
Are you
not
surprised?
I'm
not
titillated.
surprised.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. So, okay, so you've been here for most of your adult life.
Mhm.
When was Barbara born?
I told you before, I was part of a gay youth group,
No.
and this is before Glisten, this is before 1 in 10, this is before
Youth group as in
a gay
not
youth group.
religious, right?
Right, no, it's just a gay lesbian youth group. It's called PGYG, Phoenix Gay Youth Group.
Okay.
And it met down here in this area, and it was just,
What
I don't-
decade was this?
this is the early 90s, yeah.
Fucking rude,
Yeah.
bitch.
What? I'm just
Oh
asking.
no, it's cool. So I mean, no, I'm almost 50, so like I totally own that, and like
Nice.
I'm holding it together.
Absolutely.
But we did a youth group drag show, and it turned out that I was kind of good at it, and I never thought about it again until 2 or 3 years later. One of my best friends was like, "Let's dress up for New Year's Eve. They're giving away a costume contest at wherever," and so we did it, and it was just like what you see in a book. Like I show up, you're the drag queen hosting it, and you're like, "You're really funny. You be in the show tomorrow," and I did it, and I haven't
Do you
looked
have
back.
pictures of this baby?
They're somewhere. They're out there somewhere, but I don't.
Are you hiding them?
No, I've actually never done
She's
any.
suing left and right.
Oh, am I hiding them? Is that what you
Yeah.
said? Oh, I thought you said, am I high in them?
Oh.
It's like no, because believe it or not, I've never done any sort of drugs.
Weed?
No, never. Not even pot. Not even while it's legal. I do
Same.
drink a lot. Have you really? Are you the same?
No, I wish. My 20s were a blur.
Oh, gotcha.
And what about drag just made you love it, or do you love it?
Oh, I absolutely love it, and I still love it even as an audience member if it's good. But I always tell people that like to understand me and to understand how I got into drag. I'm the youngest of 9 kids, and I think that
Catholic.
plays a big Catholic and Jewish. So I think that plays a part in it that like every kid in the family had to do something to get attention sometimes. And
And you picked a dress.
And you
no,
think gay.
not even, because even before that, like my mom and dad would have us singing and dancing for people when they came over. my brothers and sisters, we would have to like babysit each other, and like that's how we would kind of like spend the time, or like fill the time was like putting on shows in our living room and stuff. So to me, drag was just like the most natural. And I never even had to be like, how does this work? I was like, oh, I get this.
Were your parents supportive? Were your family supportive?
Yeah. My mom and dad were both very, very supportive. Yeah. Actually, the first drag queen I'd ever heard of was a legendary queen from Las Vegas named Kenny Kerr. And Kenny was like the first drag superstar. He really, really was. And he opened a show in Las Vegas called Boylesque. And it was like an all impersonator show. And it was back like when the mafia was running Vegas and stuff. And my mom and dad came back from the show, and my mom thought it was the coolest thing. And she had the program framed, and like she loved it. And so I always knew what drag was. I didn't know that was my calling, so to speak. But I haven't had a full-time job, like a punch the clock in job for almost 20 years.
Oh, wow.
So jealous.
Learn those skills, sweetie.
Oh, no, that's too late for me.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't have a great house or a great car or anything. But you know what? I'm fucking footloose, fancy free.
And you're happy.
My bills are paid. I'm happy. I'm not on government assistance. Not that that's a situation. But I'm doing me and not looking back.
But I think there are so many people who have worked a punch job who can't even say that.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the thing. That's awesome. Like, to hear your trajectory and to hear, you know, what you've gone through, like, that's amazing. You know what I mean? That's really
Do you
cool.
have a drag mother?
Pussy Lahoot.
Oh, shit.
We just talk about shit about your mom.
Yeah.
She's like, what'd you say about my mom?
What'd you say about my mom?
The funny thing is, the reason that I was drawn to Pussy Lahoot is she actually reminded me of my mom.
Oh.
My mom was almost as tall as me, definitely bigger than me, and so was Puss. And my mom always wore a lot of makeup, so did Puss. My mom always wore high heels, so did Puss. And they ended up meeting after I'd been doing drag for a short time, and they completely clicked. And my mom died about, oh my God, it's like her death anniversary is like this weekend. But she and my mom were in closer contact than my mom and I were for a year or two. And she was like, girl, you need to call your mom. She's upset with you.
That's me. That's my role in our friendship.
Are you friendly with his mom?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's funny.
Did your mom have the gams, the legs? That
Oh, yeah.
did?
Oh, 100%. Oh, gosh.
Because that's what she's known for. The
Yeah.
damn legs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Pins.
That's what she's known for?
Well,
Yeah. Okay.
I remember going to Charlie's once, and Pussy had a little too many shots.
Yeah, as she'll do.
And she'll go into the motherfuckers, and we're like, Pussy, calm down, girl.
We'll let it go. We'll let it.
Well, that's her catchphrase is, how you doing, you little motherfuckers?
That's just like a memory of Charlie.
Merry Christmas, you little motherfucker. Sorry about your loss, you little motherfuckers. Happy 9/11. You know,
that is on brand for
That is, no, I just say that. Absolutely.
So let's talk about the elephant in the room.
What's the
The
tea?
non-memo. We're talking about
I know this white as a house bitch ain't coming for me.
Scary Lake.
Ain't that some shit?
Ain't that some
Seriously,
motherfucking
like
shit.
I remember this bitch growing up on TV,
Mm-hmm.
and
How old are you guys?
I'm almost 40.
I'm 36 or 36 in a month.
Maybe 36 in a month.
So
Virgo?
I mean, yes.
Yeah, shit.
What are you?
I'm a Gemini.
I'm a Leo.
Madonna's a Leo. You have a birthday when?
Same birthday as Madonna, August 16th.
August 16th.
Gay tangent.
Dance. Yeah.
Typical.
It's very
Especially for this
typical.
show.
Make that your next t-shirt, by the way. Gay tangent.
Gay
Register.
tangent.
That is what she totally says.
My mind is always on that shit.
I know.
Huh?
What you guys are known for most.
Yeah, like tangents. Like what
Uh-huh.
happened?
Fuck this. Fuck hey bitch.
Gay
Gay
tangent.
tangent. Do you know what? I'm going to register that.
You
I'm on
bitch.
that phone
Real quick.
LLC, gay tangent, LLC.com. Okay.
So let's start off with how long have you known Kari?
Well, that's why I was asking how old you guys were, is because she's been on the news
Yeah.
since the mid 90s, I would say.
Because she replaced
Yeah.
Connie with Ronnie, when it was Ronnie and Connie.
Also, bitch, you know, yeah.
I know.
That's how she and I bonded, is because I was such a news person. I had
Mhm.
studied journalism for a short time.
Okay.
And I'm also just like a news, like to this day, I love the news. I read the news probably 10 times a day. And that's how I bonded with her. And obviously I was a little starstruck because I was like, Kari Lake's here. But it was actually downtown, not too far from where we are. And her news station at that time was just about a mile away. So she and some of the other people, whether they were producers or other on-air talent, they would come down to the show at the 307 Lounge and just catch the last half hour of a show. And they'd have a good time and they were nice. And then a couple months later, they'd pop in again. And then finally, we exchanged information. Finally, we became friends. Eventually, she started calling me to like be a part of a newscast. Like, hey, we're talking about this. Do you know anything about it? And I'd be like, yeah. And so I would either be like the gay voice or maybe it was related to the LGBT community. Like one thing that I remember the most is they used to do this thing like tonight at 7:00, Fight Club. And then at 10:00, Fox News, meet a real life Fight Club person. And so like they would always try to tie the movie into that night's news. Yeah. And so they did that with Tu Wong Fu. And it was like, and at 11, meet a real life drag queen, you know.
Real life drag queen.
Out of nature.
Exactly. It was very like that. It was very much like that. So I did a lot of hits for her on the news through the years. What brought us to where we are now is that, the camera phone. I bet she rused that.
Yeah.
But also,
she Rue McClanahan.
she had asked me to do a baby shower for another person there at Fox 10. Well, I'll just say Yetta Gibson. I tried to keep Yetta out of it at first, but the New York Times did their homework and they're like, is this Yetta Gibson? Because she's still on the news here on Channel 3. But anyway, that's where everything kind of goes south, is that she hired me to do that. There were kids there. Her kids were there. We were still friends for many, many years. We were still in contact, even though she wasn't on the news. We were still in contact as recently as a year ago. And just out of nowhere, middle of Gay Pride Month, someone sent me a message with her screenshot of they took God out of school and they put in a drag queen.
I think I seen a picture, so if you can bring it up.
Yeah. They kicked God out of schools and welcomed drag queens. They took down our flag. And this is the thing that pissed me off also, is like the random capitalization. Girl, you went to school. Get it together.
Seriously, right?
Nice. Nice.
That's McClintock City. You do the same.
Renee went to McClintock.
That's why I'm saying.
Is this actually my screenshot? Do you know? Because I see it's 39 minutes ago.
No.
I mean, when it was taken.
Maybe it's probably
I wonder if it's actually
it's
from my original post. Because when it came out, I was like, oh, click. Because I was afraid she would delete it. Which she should have.
But she
totally should.
And none of this would be happening. She came out as one of those people sort of condemning drag queens. And I don't know if I said this on air or before, but like I studied journalism. I went to school for communication. So I tried to compose a very just the facts response. Yeah. I didn't call her any names. I just said, I'm really sad to see this. And here's proof that she doesn't believe this. And I kind of thought the Phoenix New Times would pick it up. Or I thought maybe like KTAR might be like, hey, what's going on here? But nothing happened for like almost 2 days. And when I went to bed, when I woke up the second day, it had exploded.
I mean, you went national headline.
International. Like everything from Fox News to Breitbart, Huffington Post, Daily Beast, Morning Joe. It's unreal. Like there was like a 48-hour period if you Googled drag queen, it isn't RuPaul that would pop up. It wasn't.
It was you.
It was me. And I was like,
girl.
Wow. It was insane.
Now, after all that, you finally made it to the big time on Hey Betch.
Yes, and now I'm on Hey Betch.
I mean, girl, this is as high as it gets. For us.
Well, to get some context, like for the last year, I would say, there's been just like a lot of controversy around drag queens and this movement from conservatives saying that we are grooming. Drag shows are grooming children and sexualizing them. And it all started because of like the drag queens would read to kids in libraries, which is like sweet and nice and great. And they're not like stripping and they're not like the act is not what they do at the club.
Thank you for saying that, because that's something that I've had to spell out for several people. And an analogy that I was using, I'm sorry, McClintock, an analogy is something that you use.
I fucking love you. Just so we're clear. When you best friend, you're each
the analogy that I used was, you guys fucking loved Bob Saget on Full House. Danny Tanner was America's dad for probably 10 years. Everybody loved, well, hold on. But we're talking a Disney show, you know, ABC. They did episodes from Disneyland. This is as all-American, as wholesome as you can get. But if you were to catch Bob Saget's Vegas show, it was filthy raunchy. It's rape jokes. It's bestiality jokes. It's some
exact opposite.
Yes. And so every time I've said that to someone, they're like, that makes sense. You're right. You can be this raunchy drag queen on Saturday night, but on Sunday morning when you're doing something here. And by the way, in the interests of like disclosure, I've never been a fan of Drag Queen Story Hour. I've never understood why drag queens needed to do that. I've never understood why we decided to draw a line in the sand over that. To me, I just never understood it. And I was like, why do we need to do that? Like, and why does it need to be? So like in a lot of ways, I was kind of on that side of it. I was like, yeah, like, why not? I've come to understand now that a lot of people realize that, hey, it's going to make that little boy feel comfortable around different kinds of people. It's going to make this little girl understand that, you know, that fantasy is different than real life. And I can still see some of that. But I wasn't one of those people, you know, banging the drum for Drag Queen Story Hour. But now that I've seen it through more context and, you know, different points of view, it's harmless. And the other thing that I kept telling people is if your kid can understand that Bruce Wayne is Batman, or if your kid is not traumatized by seeing Tiana kiss a frog,
seriously,
they can handle the fact that Richard is dressed up as Elsa.
Yeah.
Seriously.
And I think that's what the point of it all was, is this drag is a performative art. Like, it's art. It's not, this is not their identity. So it's, I think,
but even if it was, that's okay.
Right.
You know,
No,
and what kind of a great message is it to just let a kid know, you know, yeah, go ahead, Mom. I'll play around in mommy's dress today. It's okay.
Yeah.
Instead of your dad walking in and just smacking you when he sees you in it.
I think Memo can relate.
I can relate.
You know, I'm sure. I think everybody can.
Yeah.
Or a little girl who wants to, you know, be butch that day, or who doesn't want to put on makeup. So I mean, I do see the value in it, but there's just so much more to unpack.
I've always said, like, I think one of my biggest comments when I saw that is, like, you know, these Christians want to sit there and say that and I don't mean we as in I'm a drag queen. I won't give myself that much credit. But like I look at what you do, and I think, like, I agree with you. It's an art form. Like, and because I've even tried doing it, girl, I can never live up to that. Like, that's amazing. But like, I would 1,000,000 times trust my child around a drag queen before a clergyman.
Right.
Because when was the last time that a drag queen was involved in that kind of scandal?
Right. Yeah.
Like, to me, like how are you gonna sit there and point fingers at something so, like, I think it's pure because, like, it's strictly art, right? Like, I see it as art. But that's supposed to be somebody who's your leader, who's your guidance, who's your whatever. And the shit that they've done, like, to me, that's like my biggest
hypocrisy.
thing. The hypocrisy.
The hypocrisy.
And then, so that's where that came from.
Right.
So I feel like the Conservative Party has kind of like grasped onto straws. Like, what can we be outraged about?
Well, yeah, because they don't want to talk about kids getting shot in classes. They don't want to talk about January 6th. They don't want to talk that their exalted leader planned a coup. Yeah. It's easier to be like, hey, look over here. Let's do this. Let's do that.
Our harming our children. Always outline it around children. Like,
one of the reasons I asked how old you were is the reason that they're doing this is because it has worked before.
Yeah.
It was like the 2000 election, I think, or maybe 2004. Yeah, so it's almost 20 years where George Bush really galvanized the Republican Party with an anti-gay marriage thing. And to get an R next to your name, to get a nomination, you would have to come out anti-gay marriage.
Yeah.
And I heard y'all talking about it before, that's coming back now. So, I mean, of course they're going to go back to it. It's their last, what do they call it? It's like play the hits.
Yeah.
You know, it's like one of their greatest hits.
Yeah.
And it worked for them.
And I think the newer generations just, obviously they weren't around, so they don't understand that. And they don't see that. And there's like this lack of like fear They're like, no, that can't happen.
Mhm.
We're in America, that
No.
can't happen. And then Roe versus Wade happens. And
Yep.
all this other shit comes
And then
down.
everything else that might be coming down the road, it's just like you don't understand. Like, is what I tell people is like, or like the youth that I've met is you don't understand what it took to get to where we are now, to get to be where we can be so open in public. I go because I tell them, I go, I'm 20 years ago. It really isn't that long ago,
Right.
and that's when I was in high school.
Right.
I used to dream of the day where if I wish I could be out in school, and wasn't a thing. You know what I mean? And so they don't get it.
Yeah.
They don't get it. So. All this has brought on a lot, right? So like you were even served with a cease and desist order,
I was.
which I gotta say I read it, and then like I was reading, I read it all, and then just like, and I believe it was your posting, where you said I will never cease or desist,
Right.
And so like I was just like, tell me more about that. Like obviously like you've been hit with this, and you're fearless about it,
Well, I'm fearless because I haven't done anything wrong.
right?
I haven't done anything wrong.
Right.
Either by doing drag in front of kids, by sharing what I posted. It's all the truth. And almost everything that I said was accompanied by photographic evidence.
You had receipts.
And I also kept some of those receipts till later because I was like, I'm not going to shoot my whole shot here. Well, okay, yeah. I was like, I'm not going to shoot the whole load right
This is a
here.
Christian show.
And so I deliberately held some stuff back because I kind of expected some people to be like, that's not true. Where are the pictures? So I waited a couple of weeks and I go, well, here's your fucking pictures.
Yeah.
You know, what else do you need?
And the fucking funny thing is, like, when she came out in a statement, she's like, these are lies. I'm like, honey, I see you in pictures with drag queens. I see you
Literally.
wearing their merch.
She had to put out, she's wearing my merch.
Seriously.
So it's like, and then I think she was on Fox News and they called her out on it.
Oh,
She
yeah.
was pissed.
Oh, yeah. She was
She's
heated.
like, I'm so disappointed in how would you do this? Like,
To me, when I watched that was, you know, you see those memes that are like, if bad breath were a person, or if I can speak to a manager, like I saw that and I honestly recognized that as if white female privilege was a person. It was personified right there. She was offended that she was being held accountable. She was shocked. I mean, there was certainly some manufactured outrage there, but she just couldn't believe that she was being held to these standards.
Yeah.
And the crazy part is that people are calling her out for all kinds of shit.
That's what I didn't know, is that this was the thing that I guess nothing else had hit. Like I didn't know that that she had claimed to be a lifetime member of the NRA, but you can buy a lifetime membership, which she just did like 6 months ago.
yeah.
She's a new Republican, and so
I think her support for Obama or something.
oh yeah,
So you can-
definitely.
You have a picture.
And that was
so
a
I didn't mean
question-
to stalk your page, but I did. Right? You have that picture where you with the sign. I think it was superimposed, right?
Yeah,
I was just like, see, I go like you can't hide in this day and age. You can't hide shit.
Yeah.
Like it's impossible.
That was
to
my
hide
next question.
shit.
Like, when you would have interactions with her, was she supportive of the gay community? Was
Oh,
she
yeah.
progressive? Was she like?
oh yeah, definitely. That's why all of this hurts, is because if she really changed, I would be like, all right, girl, you do you. You know, I mean,
yeah.
But I don't think it's sincere. I think it's to become more famous and become more powerful. And that's why I think it's so sad. And that's why I think it's more dangerous.
Absolutely.
And the thing that I try to instill the most is that when you perpetuate those stereotypes and you perpetuate those labels that, like you said, that were grooming or that were pedophiles or anything like that, that really, it puts people like me at risk.
Absolutely.
You know, and it makes somebody who sees me in the car in drag, you know, want to throw a rock through my window or something.
And this just for personal gain. That's the hardest thing. I
Mhm.
think is just she just threw us under the bus just because she wants to be in power. She wants to be.
That's so funny you use that expression, because before I sent that tweet, I took a screenshot, probably that one that we just shared, and I said, "Are you throwing me under the bus?" And she never responded. And this is the worst thing. She didn't respond. She didn't answer my phone call. So then I was like, well, I'm going to send her a message on Facebook. And that's when I saw that she had not only unfriended me, she had blocked me,
What?
so that I couldn't have access to,
Your interaction.
the interactions, and our history is just scrubbed.
Yeah.
But what she forgot, because she messed this up in so many ways, But what she forgot is that she had sent me her private page, her personal page. She said, here, we can talk more privately here. And she forgot to scrub me from that. And the New York Times and someone else went through her Instagram and found more photos of us.
Oh my God, girl.
Like they really went through
Yeah.
it. They spent time because they had to go like 10, 12 years back to find her at Pride in New York City, to find her here, to find her with me. One of them says, everything I know about makeup I learned from Barbra.
The funny thing, the funny thing, just like don't blame me for that.
Okay.
The funny thing is that I think she tweeted that or in a speech that the journalist and the media is the enemy of the people.
Mm-hmm.
When she's a journalist, she
Yeah.
was a journalist.
Well, she was a news reader.
She was a news. Okay.
She read teleprompter.
She was.
That's what
she
it
was
was.
a teleprompter reader.
She read
But that was her
teleprompter.
field. That was her.
Yeah.
That was what she worked in. And
Like that's not an insult. Newsreader is a job.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a different thing than someone who like does research and vets sources. And you know, like her job wasn't to provide two sources for everything that she says. All she had to do is say, the Associated Press reports that blah 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 blah. You know, and so there's some live.
But to have such disrespect for the people you've worked with for decades is like just throw other people under the bus as well. Like, and I know that I saw an interview with you on NBC, I think, and they were talking about the moment that you saw her switch.
Mm-hmm.
When did you kind of, besides running for something,
Right.
did you see anything before that?
The thing that I saw was she got an interview with Donald Trump very early in his administration.
Yeah.
And it was a big deal. It's still a big deal to get an interview with the president, even if you don't agree with him.
Right.
And I think this is where things went south for her. I mean, I guess north for her because it elevated her career. But 80 to 90% of the comments were like, why would you interview him? Oh, I hope you got that smell off of you. I think I may have even been one of those people who just had no regard for him. And really, I had no respect for the presidency because of the way he had campaigned and the way that he's lived his life.
For real.
And she was shocked by that. And even, I want to say, in my recollection, I think even her daughter was bothered by it. And she had to like really help her daughter understand, he's still the president. This is still a big deal.
Absolutely.
You know, this is someone who will be remembered until the end of time. He's a president of the United States. Yeah. And that's when I saw her maybe take a second look to
So she felt betrayed, maybe.
I think so. And I think they were talking about Trump derangement syndrome back then. And I think that made her go, maybe there's something to this. But honestly, without being there and without having these discussions with her, what I think happened from what I know about her and from what I've always seen about Donald Trump, and I've hated Donald Trump since before he was running for the presidency. I've just always seen him for the loser and fraud that he is.
Right.
I have a feeling Donald Trump, Kari Lake, Oval Office, you're a beautiful kid. You got great stage presence. You're in one of the most important states for the Electoral College. What are you doing spinning your wheels here? You got it. Because she does. She has star quality.
Yeah.
You know?
I can see that.
And
she has a huge following
and
here.
name recognition.
Yeah.
You know,
He kind of fell for his his charm.
Yeah.
Because he's a charming person.
Yeah.
To people.
If you want
Not
to
to
be.
me.
Yeah, exactly.
Not to me, but to people.
But, you know,
I think the word is charismatic.
Absolutely.
Charismatic.
Because Hitler was
And actually, now that you said that makes sense. But because like you look at her campaign, and I called it earlier, it's a very Trumpistic campaign.
Oh yeah.
You know, it goes along the lines of like that whole shock and awe of it all, right? And that's what he was. It was anything that he said to keep his name in the news. And if you pay attention to what she's been doing, that's what it's been about.
Oh yeah, dominate the news cycle.
Yeah,
exactly.
Just like deprive anyone else of oxygen. She just got herself banned on Twitter for a day or two, and that's by design. Yeah. That's to rile people up, and I guarantee you, people started sending her money for that. I guarantee you. But to me, I didn't expect any of this to happen. I didn't expect this to become a national conversation or an international story. But when it did, I said, "Fuck it, it's true. I'm going to run it. I'm going to run with this." And I had a talk with somebody from a national news, or not national, a national political group, and they were like, "Hey, how are you?" like, have you ever done anything like this? Do you know what's going on? And I was like, I kind of feel like I know what's going on, but it was still in its infancy. And they said, I think you are really going to damage her. And you should be prepared for X, Y, and Z. So I was prepared for it when it happened. And, but they told me, they said, you could like really bloody her up. And if you stop her, I mean, not me personally, but like if this scandal stops her, this would be a blow to Donald Trump that no one has been able to land.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm continuing to hit hard. And that's why I'm continuing to tell the same story 100 times. And
going on these little shitty shows.
no, that's not what I mean at all. But tell the truth.
No,
just tell the
absolutely.
truth so that more people hear it. Because if enough people get turned off by her, could you imagine if we stopped Trumpism in Arizona?
Dude.
If we were the first ones to like, I mean, we wouldn't really be the first, but this is the other thing, and I believe this, and you're gonna go, when I say this. Imagine she becomes governor. Imagine Donald Trump works his way into the nomination. She will be his vice presidential nominee. I guarantee it.
I see that.
She's beautiful. She looks good on TV. She speaks well. She's from a must-win state. The next vice president of the United States, Kari Lake,
And then because you gotta look at it this way. Look at what it did for the Democratic campaign when Kamala was added to the ticket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you have a lot of these women who are on the fence with because of Kamala. You know what I mean? Right now, they see another woman, another strong woman in that seat. They're like, well, this might be that swing that they need. You know what I mean? I see that whole.
But the damage, I think you're right, because I read that when he came to Phoenix, that they booed Kari when they mentioned Kari, or she came on the stage. Is
that true? I haven't heard that.
About that.
Yes.
Well, I was looking at the polls before we came in, right? Like the polls that are gauging and trying to make predictions, and she's not leading by much.
No,
she's not leading by much at all.
And she should be, because 2 people have dropped out. She should have picked up some of those people's support.
Yeah.
And she not only hasn't picked up their support, she's lost some of her support. I'm in these people's campaign ads. I'm in these flyers. I'm in these mailers. Outside money is coming in using my content. We've done something to her.
Yeah.
And
but didn't you have a commercial as well?
I didn't have a commercial. I did a ton of stuff that people picked up. Once you use something, like somebody can take this and they can use it in a commercial. Once it's out there, they can use it under those protected guidelines. They don't have to pay us for it. That's the other thing. They don't have to pay us for it. They can just, here it is. So I haven't I haven't had a commercial, but I've been in a lot of commercials because of this. It's insane.
Yeah.
And like I told you, my mom just died. That's the saddest thing about this, is my mom was a total news person and a political person. She would love this. This is, one of my friends was like, bitch, maybe this is your mom. Maybe your mom like pulled this shit off.
Doing this.
But my mom didn't believe in God and doesn't believe in like afterlife. So I don't think it's her. I don't think it's her.
It's nice to think about it.
It's nice to think about it though, right? So let me ask you this. So you in our conversation, you discussed she's been a friend. How did this feel to you? Like, I mean, there's obviously on the personal side of this all, right? Like, what ran through your mind on that?
Honestly, like a lot of gay people, I've had a lot of drama and a lot of trauma in my life. I've had a lot of ups and downs.
Yeah.
And you know how we are. We how do you say that word? Compartment?
Compartmentalize?
Yeah, that word. You notice it wasn't McClintock.
International baccalaureate here, bitch.
We get through it. We cope. Yeah. I don't think I've truly processed that, to be honest with you, because through so many of these conversations, you're honestly like the 3rd or 4th person to ask me that. And the first time someone asked me that, it actually stopped me in my tracks. I was just like,
I haven't thought about it.
It was actually a Lyft driver. And she was like, because she recognized me. And I was like, yeah. And she goes, how do you feel? And I said, well, I'm okay. I'm a little tired right now. It's just been a really busy week. And she goes, no. I mean, like, that was your friend.
Yeah.
How do you feel? And I was like,
because I looked at it like, we all know who you are, right? Especially locally. Like, we all know who you are. Now a lot of the world knows who you are. And I think that at the end of the day, we got to remember that, Yes,
It's a person.
As iconic as Barbra Seville is, you're still Richard.
Yeah.
And Richard still has to go through this.
Yeah.
It's the loss of a friend, it's the loss of a person. And I'm not trying to make you weep because I'm the king of crying.
Yeah.
But like to me, it's important to know like how did you feel about this all? Like I'm not, you know what I mean? I don't mean to stir shit up. I'm sorry, but you know what I mean?
It's okay. And like I said, I am a survivor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so my first instinct was to expose her.
Absolutely.
My next instinct was to protect myself when she threatened me with legal action. I had lawyers from across the country contact me offering services, literally, because first of all, it's a winnable case. You know, it's just
Absolutely.
right there. But also, people were just genuinely. One of the first or second, they said, so she ran an ad and a whole campaign on bashing the gay community and attacking drag. What does that say about Arizona? And I heard that, and of course it made me feel terrible. But then before I could say something, I had like all these pictures and all of these messages of other people saying, that's messed up. That shouldn't have happened. I'm sorry that happened. People contacting me saying, I've never even seen a drag show, but I want to hire you to come to a drag show for my family. I just saw what happened. And I said, I think she misunderstood the climate out here. And I think it's backfiring. And it has shown truly how resilient our community is, number one, but also how accepting Arizona is and how accepting Phoenix is.
I mean, we're blue.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
we're
why I
blue.
said it. Yeah,
I've always,
barely blue.
barely, but it happened. See, I've always been a believer, like ever since like I was old enough to start comprehending and looking, doing my own research. Phoenix is all. I think Phoenix is blue.
Yeah.
But you have everyone else in this bullshit that state.
Well, Tucson's heavily blue.
Glow.
Huh? Glow. Yeah, our listener in Glow, our global
I'm
listener.
sure he or she is a blue.
They, them are amazing. But like, I'm always a firm believer that it's we here are who we are here, right? And we welcome and we support each other. Then you have the people who barely know their neighbors because they're 17 miles away,
Right.
who don't have any of that.
And they don't have to know each other. They
Yeah.
don't need to. They're dealing with Amazon drivers and
that's it. Like the drivers who are the only people, they're the only human interaction they're gonna get, right? So I think you're right. It does show how resilient we are, and it shows a different. I think it's bringing a whole new light to Arizona, because right now all eyes are on us, right? All eyes are on us because of this shit, but also because of people are looking at this is what Arizona's like, and as people look into it, they're finding that there are people like you who are taking this opportunity, and not taking it selfishly, but like you told us earlier, what was one of your main reasons for doing this?
I don't know what I told you. I've got so many reasons. Number one was to just tell the truth. It's just the truth. My second was to, let's expose the hypocrisy. But the thing that has kept me going, and the reason that I was so offended by the cease and desist thing, and again, why I asked you guys how old you were. I'm older than you, and I get emotional every time I say this, but I grew up in a time where there was almost no gay representation.
Right.
And when there was gay representation, it was someone being beaten to death on the side of the road. It was a very special episode of Blossom. It's someone dying of HIV. It's the only gay person in the news is because they were thrown out of their community's swimming pool. I never thought I would live to be 30 years old. I wanted to be in politics. I wanted to really live a bigger life than I have been able to live. But I really thought that those things would keep me from being able to do it. And so I made a lot of stupid decisions. I lived recklessly. And because I had no hope, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so by refusing to pipe down or cease or desist, my hope is that some idiot at McClintock High or some handsome young man at Tempe High will be like, fuck that.
Yeah.
No. And now, so many things have happened since then. We've had a gay mayor. We've got Pete Buttigieg in the cabinet. Things have changed, but you know what? he still needs to hear it, and he still needs to see that we're not going to be bullied and battered and bloodied by a bully like that. So that's why I keep telling the story, and that's why I keep going, is to just hopefully make some other kid, proud.
Yeah, of course.
We're proud of you. We're very proud of you.
We're very proud of you.
I knew who you were beforehand, but this makes me love you
Yeah,
more
I've never-
because
yeah,
it gives them more. Like
It's hard to get to know a drag queen when they're in drag, but we love you.
Well,
absolutely.
And that's another reason why I've tried to do all of these things out of drag, is to make people just like focus on the person behind the drag.
Yes.
Because there are trans drag queens, but there's a trans woman behind that who isn't an over-the-top character.
Yeah.
And so that's why I've just been trying to put a face to this.
Yes. Well, we'd like to thank you for coming on here.
Absolutely.
And thank you for fighting and keep going, because you represent us, and we're absolutely proud of that.
Absolutely. I'm
She's gonna cry.
I saw you crying. I was like, don't do it, bitch. This is not about you. But no, absolutely. Thank you from the very bottom of our hearts. This means a lot to us. And we don't just say it as a thank you from us here at the show. We say it as a thank you from members of the community. For doing what some of us don't
All right,
have.
you made me cry. You got him out.
Doing what some people don't have the balls to do out of fear for whatever reason. I don't mean that in a bad way, but it's just, people have their reasons for not being able to stand up for themselves, and you're doing it.
And that's just it also, is there are other stories like this.
Yeah,
it's not just Kari Lake.
Yeah.
You guys were talking about the guy with the gay son who voted against it. But I promise you, there's somebody running on anti-trans thing who's secretly dating trans women.
Oh,
So if we can get these people to come out and to just tell the truths about the people in their community, you can expose them and we can take it down. And
if you didn't do it, it will.
So before we go, I want our listeners just to hear where you are. Like, where can we see you? Where can we find you?
I'm all over the place, but I'm doing drag brunch Saturdays at the Copper Blues, Sunday at the Hot Chick. I do bingo every Wednesday at the Hot Chick, every Monday at Cobalt, just all over the place. But people should follow me on Twitter.
Please.
Twitter's lit.
What's your handle?
The Barbra, the number one, the Barbra one. Follow me on Instagram, because I try to divvy my content up on all of them. But if it's really important, where's my camera?
Pick one. Baby.
If it's really important, you should message me on Venmo, because
Us too.
Wait,
because I answer those first.
This bitch. So the last question that I'm sure that this is probably that's probably already even come up. Season 15 Drag Race?
Make it happen.
Oh my God, yes.
I
would love that shit.
I mean, what better way to represent Arizona than our royalty?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, we're gonna start a campaign.
Yeah.
Do it.
Our 7.
No, we love her. Chicken fest.
We can fix it in post.
We can fix it.
But thank you so much
Thank
for
you
coming
again
out. We
so
enjoy
much.
you. We can't wait, and hopefully we can get you to come back out.
Sure.
So some other time. But
Yes.
thank you so much for listening. You guys got all your handles. Where you at?
Instagram, dangaz86.
Okay.
What's your MySpace?
Oh, girl. That got deleted.
Insta_memo, ma'am. And you can find us under the Hey Betch the Podcast on Instagram, or Hey Betch the Pod on Instagram, Hey Betch the Podcast on Facebook. And you can find this podcast along with all of our other episodes on Apple,
Stitch,
Google, Amazon. Are we on the Odyssey app?
We are now.
We better be. I mean, this is our first high profile. Like,
Well, I hope it gets better. Fuck.
We hope so too.
bye, bitches. The thoughts and opinions that are said or stated on this show do not necessarily reflect those of the Fuerte Network.